Hello, good to see you again. Welcome to Block 5, Fraction, Decimal, and Percentage Equivalence, Lesson 13. I'll share my screen. So, in your previous lesson, you learned how to identify and use simple equivalent fractions. In today's lesson, you're going to understand fractions as division and how to actually use that understanding to then use your calculator to work on other different types of fractions that you may find challenging and to compare whether they're equivalent or not. Before we start, I would like to appeal to you, ask for your favor, share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. Talk about it, so that you can help us in our mission, global mission, to educate the global population of children. Yes, those who may not have the funds to or the money to afford to afford private tuition. Thank you for doing us this favor. Before we start, I would like you to answer these retrieval practice questions in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered these retrieval practice questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Here, you were simply asked to give your answers as a decimal. So if you paid close attention or if you haven't watched that video where we worked on fraction, decimal, and percentage equivalence, you should go and watch it because with that, you should be able to do this really quickly. So that is 0.23 as a decimal. That should be 0.7, 0.5, and a quarter is 0.25. So 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. The next one, you were asked to use a calculator to perform the calculation. The way to do this, I'm sure you should know how to use calculator from your primary school days, is you punch 13 in your calculator, you type 13, you press the division sign, and you press 40. That should give you 0.325. Here, we're asked to complete the statement using these symbols. So less than, greater than, or equal sign. But to be able to do that, we should be able to compare the decimals. Now, to compare the decimals, you start looking at the digits from the highest place value. So we look at the units, the ones, there is no number there. So there is no number there. So we move to the tenths. You can see that they are equal. That's 4 there and 4 there. Then we look at the hundredths column. So we see that has 2, but that has 6. So that number is bigger than that number. Yeah, it's greater than. Yeah, or reading from left to right, which we usually do, we'll say 0.427 is less than 0.46. Let's do some new learning. Remember, our title for this lesson is You Should Be Able to Understand Fractions as Division. You should be able to understand fractions as division. Okay, if we have a quarter, how do we express this as a bar model? Well, you would say that's easy. I understand the previous lesson. You know that it's going to be like that. So a quarter means you have to split the bar into 4 equal parts, of which one is shaded. Now, you must remember that a quarter is 0.25. Yeah. So if the whole bar is equal to 1, then a quarter is 1 divided by 4. Yeah. Which is 0.25. So each of these little boxes is equal to 0.25. And we can write it like that. What about 3/4? What would we do? Well, it means we need 3 bars, of which each of the bar is equal to 1. Yeah, so we can write it like this, okay? We can write fraction as division and division as fraction. Well, it means, but if we rearrange it like this, we can say, okay, well, if we split each of the bar, we know each of the bar is equal to 1, and we split each of them into quarters. It means we're going to have 3 lots of quarters. Yeah. So we have 1/4 is this. So we have 3 lots of that. 3 lots. 1. So if we take 1 from here, 1 from here, and 1 from here, it means we have 3 lots of 0.25. So 0.25 plus 0.25 is 0.5. 0.5 plus 0.25 is 0.75. So actually, 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. But how would we compare this? Well, we know that fraction, from what we've done so far, you're beginning to realize that fraction can be regarded as division. So we divide with the number in the denominator. So if we're asked to compare these two fractions, we can use our calculator to quickly check. We do 3 divided by 8, which is 0.375, and we do 7 divided by 20, which is 0.35. So we can quickly see, comparing the place value columns, that this is greater than that. So 3/8 is greater than 7/20. Okay? All right? So it's greater than 7/20. Okay, so what we've learned so far is you should know that fraction can be expressed as division. So the denominator of a fraction is what we use to divide the numerator. So an example we saw just now is that 7/20 means 7 divided by 20. So it's now time for you to practice what you've learned. Pause the video and answer question 1 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 1, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So you were simply asked to match up the division to the decimal answer, and then you were asked use the calculator to help you match the fraction. So this was a quick calculator exercise that you could have done. So well done. If you've done this, mark your work and celebrate your success. Pause the video and answer question 2 in 1 minute. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 2, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Here you were asked, Huan is writing 3/10 as a division on his calculator, and Yuan wrote this. What mistake has Yuan made? Well, remember, division, yeah, he has divided the numbers the wrong way. So 8/10 means you divide by 10. So the correct way to do it will be 8 divided by 10. So mark your work and celebrate your success if you got that right. Pause the video and answer question 3 in 3 minutes. You should be able to do it in 2 minutes, but work at your own pace. You don't have to rush. Okay, assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So you were simply asked, write the fractions as divisions, use your calculator to work out the answer as a decimal. So by now, you should know that 7/8 means 7 divided by 8. So you're simply practicing knowing how to write fractions as divisions. And then these should be the answers you should have gotten. All right, pause the video and answer questions 4 and 5 in 3 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. So you were asked for question 4 to write the divisions as fractions. So if we can write fractions as divisions, we can do it the other way too. We can write divisions as fractions. So you can see the answers here. And then here you were asked, circle the fractions that are equivalent to 45 over 60. You can use your calculator to do that. We've done equivalent fractions, but remember in this lesson, we're focused on using our calculators to actually know how to express fractions as divisions and divisions as fractions. So using your calculator, you could have spotted that these are equivalent to 45 over 60 or 45 divided by 60. So well done for the first part of your lesson, practicing what you've learned. Now, let's focus on something else. What if we have problems where lots of words are written like this? Here is one. Eva walks to school every weekday. She walks a total of 4 kilometers. How far does she walk each day? First, we need to think, for the weekday for school, how many days do we have? That's 5. So if she walks 4 kilometers in total for the whole week, we're going to have to divide 4 by 5. Okay? Now remember, we can express division as, what's the word? Fraction. So we can write it like that. And then how do we do that in our calculator? We type in 4, we put our division sign, and we type in 5 and we press an equal sign. And then our unit will be in kilometers. Okay, so it's now time for you to practice the rest of the questions in this lesson. Pause the video and answer questions 6 and 7 in 4 minutes. You can take shorter than that. May not be up to 4 minutes. All right, assuming you've paused the video and you've worked through the questions, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Here you were asked, show that the statements are true. 30 over 50 and 17 over 40 are not equal. Well, you could have used a calculator to do that quickly to see that, yeah, they are not equal. And then this is less than that. So you could have used a calculator to express that and then compare the place value of the digits to see that that is actually greater than that. So that statement is correct. Yeah. And then next you were asked to circle the smaller fraction in each pair. So you could have used a calculator to check quickly and then compare the place value of the decimal numbers that you get, the place value of the digits, and then to see which was actually smaller. All right, pause the video and answer question 8 in 1 minute. All right, so these 3 pizzas are divided equally between 5 people. So here is the first one showing you an example. Let's look at the answer, assuming you've paused the video. So here, the first one is showing you that, okay, if it's split among 5 people, they're asking us what fraction of 1 pizza does each person receive? Each person will receive 1/5. Yeah. 1 pizza, each person. So if it's shared among 5 people, each person will receive 1/5. But now, each person, for all the pizzas, each person will receive 3/5. Okay? Each person will receive 3/5. All right? So think about it. You take 1 slice from here, you take 1 slice from here, you take 1 slice from here. So it's going to be 3/5. Yeah? So, Yeah. So if each person takes one piece from each of the pizza, it means they have three parts. Now, which is actually, so I didn't explain it properly. So if you split it into five equal parts, each person, if you take one part of that, and then that is split into five equal parts, you take one part, that is split into five equal parts, you take one part. You now have three pieces, which means one person has three pieces out of five equal pieces. So for one pizza, you just need to split one pizza and give one person three parts, and then the other people will take their parts of the pizza. So each person gets 3/5 of one pizza. That's if you just want to give the person all that they need to get in one go. Pause the video and answer question 9 in 2 minutes. Assuming you've paused the video and you've answered question 9, here are the answers. Let's discuss them. Here you were asked, £2 is shared equally between 8 people. What fraction of £1 does each person get? Well, if you think about it, if you split £2 among 8 people, it means you write 2/8 as a fraction. Okay, so 2/8 as a fraction. So let's write it down. So 2/8. Okay. Now this is for £2. Now we want to find what fraction of £1 does each person get. So if we reduce this to £1, it means we need to divide by 2. So our fraction will be a quarter. Yeah. Next, Nija swims the same distance each day for 7 days. She swims 4 kilometers in total across the week. What fraction of a kilometer does Nija swim each day? Again, we divide the total distance by the number of days, 4/7. Okay. Question 10, pause the video and answer question 10 in a minute. Here you're asked to put the fraction in descending order. And here they are. So you could use your calculator, work out the decimal numbers, compare the place value of the digits, and then you figure out which one is actually the smallest, the biggest, and then you start from the biggest. Descending means you start from the biggest all the way to the smallest, and that should help you arrange the fractions in descending order. Take note that I didn't write the decimal numbers as the answers. Why? Because you were asked to arrange these, not the decimal numbers. Using your calculator and using the decimal numbers to compare them is just a method, a way for you to get the actual answer, which is to arrange them in descending order. That brings us to the end of our lesson. So what have we learned so far? In this lesson, you have learned that you can express division as fraction and fraction as division. That knowledge should help you know how to do proper calculator operations when you're giving questions to answer, in such as comparing fractions to know which one is bigger or smaller, or comparing fractions to, word problems to know what number you need to divide by what number to find the actual answer to a question, such as the last question we did in our last segment of the lesson when we did the example of the student traveling 4 kilometers in 7 days, or swimming 4 kilometers in 7 days. Okay, well done for working hard and for learning. Until next time, take care and bye-bye.